going on, everybody? I'm John Welsh, and I'm the gentleman.
And I'm Alex Stafford, and I'm the scholar.
What's going on?
What is up, guys?
Guess
we
who
also
have here?
have a friend with us this show. This is our good friend Gary from Bailey's. Say hello, Gary.
Hi.
This is he's the inaugural guest on our show. It's a big day for us. Christmas was yesterday. I hope everybody is feeling better than I am with the eating and the drinking and everything else. It's been a wild holiday ride. But before we do that, make sure if you haven't had a chance to do so already, hit that subscribe button, bell for notifications, and also share it. Spread the word. Remember, because we're all disciples of the leaf. Spread that gospel.
It's actually been going a lot better than I expected. A lot of people are sharing them and having watch parties, which I like. I like when I hear about the watch parties. It gets me going.
Have you seen the comments?
Yeah, I watch the comments. See, I do all the editing, so it takes a lot of time. But after they're done, he normally is the one watching all the comments. But this time, I paid attention.
Right. So I kind of feel like an extra sense of pressure to do the plug for our official sponsor today.
Yeah.
No extra pressure.
I don't want to mess it up. So
You've got the shirt on. So.
right. Oh, also to peep it, I am wearing a Bailey's shirt. We also have a shirt hanging there, so you can see the back of it. You got Bailey, the dog, there, just looking like a boss.
He is the boss.
But for all your cigar needs, official sponsor of the show, Bailey's Cigar Room, located off Veterans in Karen Crow. It is your one-stop shop for all your tobacco needs, except cigarettes, because that's disgusting.
Yeah, that's gross.
We've already covered that part. They have 2 humidors, not just one.
Yep.
Lovely seating area in the front. There's also lounge areas in the back where you can play cards, multiple TVs,
Yep.
and a big fridge. Keep your whiskey chilled.
Yep, and they will definitely do that for you. Little cubby, got your stuff, put it there, be good to go.
And if you go over there, go talk to this guy.
He is the man.
Go ask him to pick you something nice and see what he shows you.
Man, they got a plethora of whatever you need.
I gotta say, your batting average with choices, you're doing pretty well.
Well, good.
Doing pretty well.
Hopefully we can keep it up there.
Well, I will say, I'm excited. I don't want to jump the shark. I don't want to get ahead of the show, but I'm very excited about what we're going to be smoking today. But all good things in just a second. I want to talk a second about Christmas because we just had it. So first off, how was your Christmas, Gary?
My Christmas was wonderful. I've got an 8-month-old grandson, so Christmas Eve we got to stay over with his parents and him, and got to spend Christmas morning with him. I have 3 daughters, and so the one daughter had just bought a house, her and her husband, so she wanted to do Christmas dinner. So the couple with the grandson, they were kind of staying away from everybody. Everybody else gathered at the other house, so my wife didn't have to cook. We didn't have to worry about anything special. Spent Christmas morning with the grandbaby, and then went home, read the paper, chilled out, and then went and got fed and collected some whiskey. They're all a little upset now that I work at a cigar shop because the go-to presents were cigars and whiskey. Now they're limited to just whiskey, but they do a good job. So yeah, I had a good Christmas.
Awesome. Tell me about yours there, gentleman John.
Well, it was great. I had spent a lot of time with kids in the morning, and then I kind of went over to your house and had an even better time.
Dude, and that is the new holiday tradition that I have been really promoting intensely, which is we don't get to choose our biological family, but we get to choose the people that we come to love. And why not make it a priority to spend your holidays with those people, really foster those types of good bonds. And man, we had a hell of a time. Got to watch the Saints
kick some butt,
do their thing.
Yeah.
That was watching Cigar go zoom zoom.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
6.
That was
6 touchdowns.
That was
when they gave it to Hill on that one. I was like, oh, they're not going to get the 6.
That would have been 7.
Boom.
That would have been
no. I'm going to take charge. To make my own destiny. Yeah.
Right, and watching like our kids and your kids do their thing, and how each kid like. So I don't know how your kids were for Christmas, but like I have such an interesting collection of children, what they like. And I'm never bored with how they are because I've got my second son. He's 11. He's about to turn 12, and he got an egg making kit so he can do like soft boiled eggs. he got his own cookware, and he got his own utensils
man.
because he likes to cook. And that's what he wanted. And I went and got him this cool dark blue nonstick skillet because it's a boy color. You know, couldn't make eggs with it fast enough this morning. And like it was awesome. And he's just like pure contentment. And then you've got my 4-year-old who I finished assembling her Mercedes. I bought her a Mercedes. It's like an SUV, Power Wheels. So it's battery operated. And I had to get this thing put together, and I get her behind the wheel, and like she touches the gas pedal, and she gets scared because like, oh, this is power. And she's like, I don't want to hit anything. I don't want anything. I'm like, well, you're gonna get over that quick because the way women drive, it won't be long before she's like, I put another dent in it.
Like mother, like daughter.
When she sits in it.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Man.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's so
all of our kids got like vehicles of some capacity, and it was like Sturgis in my cul-de-sac last night because there were so many kids with their little toys, and they were all going in circles, and it was just like, I had to say, hanging out, smoking amazing cigars last night, and like watching our kids act it up. That was awesome. So that's the next question. What did you smoke for Christmas? Because you get to pick whatever you want.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk
What
about
was your
what I
Christmas
smoked.
stick?
Christmas, I didn't smoke anything Christmas Day.
You're fired.
Because I was with the grandson, and then when we got home, it was during the game I could have smoked a cigar, but it was just too damn cold to go outside and smoke.
Boy, you're not lying there.
So I stayed inside and watched the game. I didn't smoke a cigar Christmas Day.
Oh, man.
Sorry, guys.
I feel it. It's like, is there like an 800 number I can like sponsor you and send you some money? Poor Gary didn't get a cigar for Christmas. Tell us what you smoked.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, let me tell you something. And this is something I got from you. It was a part of a pack. It was a 601 Maduro. When I say that thing was delicious, I McNubbined that thing. I mean, I got it down to nothing. I was still smoking. Oh my God,
Yes.
it was good. I cannot speak more highly of that cigar.
Good.
It was that good.
Yeah.
He'll tell you, I raved about it the whole I was like, oh my God. And they're over there smoking these amazing cigars themselves. But I was like, and one of our buddies was with us, and he was just like, he goes, yeah, but you're smoking this $3 million cigar. I'm like, I don't care. This to me is that $3 million. So you ever have a chance to get a 601 Maduro, that thing is a beast.
Well, it sounds like we just have to do an episode.
Oh no, that's one thing. I want everyone to smoke this with me as I'm smoking on the show because it's that good. And I got it from this guy right here.
Sounds like you're going to be picking that one in the future.
Oh.
What I love about it is it's a hidden gem.
Yes, it is.
It's not one of the big ones. It's not a Fuente. It's not a Rocky. It's not a Macanudo. It's not a Padron or a Perdomo or an LFD. I'm going to stop. They keep going. But, it's one of these obscure brands. You never think of it. And the band is very unassuming.
Yep.
It looks like an area code, 601. What am I going to do with that? Because normally you're like the Gurkhas, they have these elaborate, ornate bands to distract you from the fact that it's a Gurkha. But like the 601 is just like, this is what I am.
Yeah.
I don't gotta sell this. It sells itself.
Yes, and it does. It sells itself. Like for me, it's over the moon. I loved it. Every second, I loved every second.
There's a lot of guys who are really big Espinosa fans, and hopefully in the next year, the governor will actually allow us to start gathering. And one of the people we want to get in is Big Tony, the rep, to do something. And he's a guy to meet, and he'd be very happy to hear that you love the 601.
Oh my God. I want to meet Big Tony. Please, Big Tony, come on.
So I have a little bit more I want to talk about Christmas, but
Hold on, we didn't get to what you smelled, buddy.
Oh.
See, our audience wants to know that. They want to know, they saw my Espinosa, like they were 601. I got it.
See, I had to make it look like I forgot to tell you what I smoked so that you could ask, because I don't want to just like story top you. I had the rare treat and honor of smoking a Kai d'Orsay Habano yesterday, and it was a Maduro. Okay, and we all know I'm a Maduro guy, but Habanos typically they don't make Maduros. It's very, very rare. They typically do just this one size. So the whole Connecticut sun-grown Maduro thing with the Cuban market doesn't really map onto it the same way it does outside of Cuba. But I'd always wanted to try one just because, well, I got my chance. It was full flavored, but it was mellow. It wasn't abrasive, and like, it had this amazing complex flavor profile that had this like maltier, fuller finish than the sprightly, aromatic one that a Cuban cigar will give you, where it's like you're getting a little bit of that ammonia, where it's like a sprightly, ooh, how's your father kind of thing. This was really just like, you just wanted to like just smack on it because like, oh, there's just so much to pay attention to. And in fact, I smoked the rest of it this morning.
Wow.
I saved it because it was that good. But now that we got our Christmas sticks out of the way, I need to see what the man brought for us.
Okay. So you told me to bring something that was special to me.
Yes.
And you guys have already reviewed one of my favorite cigars, the Hamlet. And that there's many things we can talk about there. But so as I was thinking of what I would pick out of our humidor, in addition, I decided he's got a new one. So it came out this year.
It's like Christmas.
Hamlet
Take
2020. And in listening to you guys, I think you have a preference for Gordos, so I brought you Gordos and I have a Toro.
Well, to take a word out of my son's vernacular, this is triple C thick.
Oh, man, that's
So it does come in one other size, the Robusto, but this is the Hamlet 2020. So to kind of give you a little background on what it's made of, it's a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. And I know you're gonna ask, but really the Habano versus the Maduro, you're looking at a little more spice with the Habano. And we'll pick up, probably compared to the original Tabaquero, you'll pick up more spice here.
Picking up a little bit of spice.
Yeah, even as you smell it. It's got a Honduran broadleaf binder, and then the fillers are both Honduran and Nicaraguan.
Wow.
Rolled by Hamlet, so you've got that Cuban craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And according to Rocky Patel, they say Nicaraguan ingenuity. Rocky labels this as medium. Well, I would put it more medium to full. but
I would
it's-
concur with that assessment.
Yeah. So,
I've actually had one of these before. It's amazing.
Yeah, but so far from what I'm seeing, the oils, the veins, and the leaf just looks amazing. The wrap is tight. The logo is definitely a Rocky Patel Hamlet logo. I mean, the 2020. I can't wait to check this thing.
I just want to say to our audience, I apologize because our rule is the cigar dictates the show. So when the cigar's out, the show's over. This is gonna be like a 5-hour show. This is gonna be a big show. So bear with us. All right.
Let's get into it.
It's made at the Tabacusa in Nicaragua. Oh, I brought
We have those too.
Right. Well, this is one we actually got from your store.
This is the cutter I have at home, and I remember talking to you about it, and you got it for the same reason I did, because you like the fact that people look at it and go, oh, that's so cool. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna do the dry pull right now.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So anyway, inspecting the wrapper on this beast, I like the oils. It's got some veins to it, but I like. You see,
The raisin in this is ridiculous. It's like
there's like a you can see the oils have started to accumulate. That tells you it's ready to go.
Yeah.
The thing people don't realize is they think that the only thing you have to do is make sure that your humidity is right to have your cigar be on point. But actually, you have to let them age. And I don't just mean like before they make it, but even after they roll a cigar, you want it to age a couple of months, because that's really where the magic happens, and you get a much deeper, fuller flavor profile. The only problem is having amazing cigars that you let live in your humidor long enough to age. It's just
Mine don't last. People, how long do you let them sit in the humidor? Usually right up to the point where I pull them out and smoke them, which it doesn't. They don't last long. I've got a buddy who ages. He's got stand-up humidors full of cigars that he ages for years and years. And
I could close my eyes and tell you this is a Rocky from the dry pull.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're on point every single time. It's in that raisin.
That little bit of raisin. That is a Rocky
right
note,
there.
but this has raisin with pepper.
Oh yeah.
There is that pepper on the end.
That's why I can't wait to start it up.
And here's the thing. I want you guys to get to the point where we are, where you can start gathering this much intel just from the dry pull. Most people don't even take a dry pull, but this is it's like try before you buy.
Yeah.
All right, I can't wait anymore.
He's toasted.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is I don't want to do this one improperly because it's a big one, and I'm going to respect her. She's a lovely lady. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the draw. For it to be as big as it is, and to have a draw that is just like this has my highest rating for draw, where I call it effortless. It's just,
Ooh boy,
it's just
so good,
so smooth.
Oh man.
So to give you a little background on why the Hamlets draw like that, I'm sure you guys know the story of Hamlet. Okay.
And we brought
So
out
yeah. So
How much of it's real, or how much of it's
no, it's pretty accurate. There, when you meet him, he'll tell you very similar to what you've seen. There's a great video on Rocky's website. Now they've redone their website, so I don't know if the same video's up there, where he actually tells the story himself, and it's a hell of a story. But one of the things in talking to him about the draw and roll, so there are 3 ways they typically do the filler. You've got the book, which is, and I'm not going to try all of the Spanish pronunciation, but the book is, you basically lay them all flat and fold it like you would a book. And then you've got the accordion, where you fold each leaf kind of like you would an accordion, like we often used to do with our papers in school, right?
Yeah.
And then you put them together. And the best draw, the easiest draw, but the longest to date, is when you roll each leaf like a tube, the intubo of it, and then you put those tubes together. And all of Hamlet's stuff is rolled that way.
So this is like a super straw.
So you're gonna get a whole bunch of little.
Y'all all
tubes in
missed
there.
that.
You've got all of those little things. You did say super.
Yeah.
I did. It's a ultra straw configuration.
Well, this is what a Maduro should be. Everything. This is everything. Yeah, I'm talking about from the dry pull to the pull. When you take that first initial, you start. It's like a symphony goes on. It's everywhere. You're like, what is happening? And then as it crescendos down, I'm telling you that pepper after taste. Oh,
I've had some people tell me that they find the Hamlets too peppery.
Oh.
And I'm like, no. I've had like a Punch Diablo. That's a little too peppery. That's the. We're gonna do an anecdote break. All right. So first time I went to London, I was 12 years old. We went to this Italian joint, and the waitress comes by, because it's not like an Olive Garden. If you think of food overseas is like how it is in American restaurants, you are so sadly mistaken. Okay, so I order this spaghetti, and it's just a plate of noodles, and I'm thinking like, y'all are closer to Italy than we are in the States. How do you not know how to do spaghetti? Because like all in my mind, spaghetti was red sauce, pasta, bolognese, that kind of stuff. I didn't realize that was just but one. So anyway, I'm very bummed that my meal is basically noodles in olive oil. That was the meal I'd ordered. And I was like, no meat. And I was like, what is this? So I'm trying to salvage. Well, the waitress comes over with this big ass pepper grinder, and she's like, you want some pepper? And I was like, yeah, give me some flavor, So she says, tell me when you've had enough. So I'm like, sure. So she starts grinding it, and she's getting liberal with it. And I hear her ask me, do you want more? And I say no. And then she keeps going. And I'm just like, we shouldn't be having a language barrier. This is England, you know?
Yeah.
So she finishes, food's covered in pepper. Turns out she had asked me, did I want her to stop? And I was like, no. So I gave the exact wrong answer for what I was looking for, okay? But anyway, so I had to eat this food. That was a punch Diablo. Because it was nothing but a mountain of black pepper on butter noodles, basically. And I was just like, and my mom was just like, all right, there's that pasta looking for you. And I was like, shut up, it's exactly what because I didn't want to admit that I was an idiot and I'd over peppered my food. But yeah. That's too much pepper. All right. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Well, no, I mean everything over in Europe's like you have to that culture, the way like just give a quick story. Living in Germany for 4 years, if you go to a restaurant and in Germany, this is only in Germany, and if you don't take your fork and your knife and place them over as you exit to go use the restroom or whatever you're going to do, your plate's gone when you come.
They assume you're done.
Yes, they assume you're done. Another thing was belching. Like that's a thing. Like that's a
right.
Like, well, you didn't enjoy my meal. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Also, if you finish your meal and then try to get the check, that's rude, and they get offended by that. They're like, something wrong, and I'm like, no, we're just done. Yeah. But I didn't realize that. No. Going out to eat, that's like all day.
Yeah, it's a thing.
They just keep drinking and sipping coffee and keep mulling it over and.
You're supposed to take your time.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're trying to promote that a little bit in our household rather than just have this be like, you know, do the formals. No, according to my sons, yes. They're very big advocates of the belching. They're like, Mom, it's great food. No, I'm just talking about having whenever we have people over, no rush. Mm-hmm. If you want to just, because like I grew up in a house where my mom, you're like taking your last bite and she's behind you grabbing your plate to take it to the kitchen, and it's like, it's Sunday, you should just be chilling, but it was like she had to scrub everything up, so there was this lot of like, hurry up. You can't just sit there and like let your dishes be on the table because the plague will set in. That's how she thought, you know. It was like she was really afraid of food poisoning, so it was just like everything got taken away immediately, and it just didn't have a human feel to the encounters, and I love that. I want to bring more of that European hosting warmth and that laissez-faire, take your time kind of vibe.
Well, in Sunday in Europe, anywhere, you can't work, you can't do anything. It's a religious day. Like you can't work on your car outside. You can't do anything.
I'm gonna give the best compliment I can think of for this cigar right now, and that is that I just finished, before you pulled up, I just finished the Kai Maduro Habano, and this follows. Like, it's good. Normally, normally they don't follow that great. We're like, it's a little thin, it's a little boring, but this is a nice contrast with that because of the spice. You know, that's one of the things that people will learn as we do more of this on the show. But Cuban cigars do not have a spice note.
No.
And so if someone's trying to sell you a Cuban cigar and you smell it and you smell a spice note, it's a fake.
And there's a difference in when cigar guys talk about cigars between spice and pepper. Pepper is not necessarily spice. Spice could mean a well-seasoned meal. You're Cuban, you know. Pepper is just that. And there are some guys, and I can do it a little bit, that can tell you the difference between white pepper and black pepper. I know if it's peppery, you know.
Yeah.
Man, I hear guys, I read reviews all the time, and I see them say, this is a cracked white pepper. And I'm like, you're full of dog snot, dude. Like, how do you? I don't even know what white pepper tastes like. If you were to like close my eyes and have me taste black pepper and white pepper, I don't.
There is a difference.
I'm sure there is.
There is.
I'm not sure how to explain it, but there is a difference.
I'm sure there is, and I can't imagine how I'd be able to detect those differences in a cigar.
Well, it's the same thing as how we're growing our palate with these cigars. The people who do nothing but food all day, they know the difference, and that's why they put that into their repertoire.
All right, so Gary, we're gonna get in your head a little bit here.
It's a strange place.
That's all right. That's all right. We're used to eccentric fellas in this circle. So how long you been smoking cigars? We'll start with that.
So you'd be surprised how often I get asked that. I started smoking cigars junior or senior year in high school, which would have been 1974, 75. And at that time it was like the ANC Grenadiers or for prom, for a big, and that was about it for big dances. Now I went to an all boys high school, and most of us dated girls who went to all girls high school. So there were a lot of big dances to go to because each school had their own. So we would smoke them there, and that was fun. Then when I went to college, we started smoking cigars, but I was really like an Optimo Palma or El Trellis guy. And then after a year of college, I realized I didn't have a way to pay for it. And that's when I joined the Air Guards. It was a basic training, as you can remember. Smoke them if you got them.
Yep.
Otherwise, you had to stay at a parade rest. So that's when I started buying the backwoods cheroots because I could keep them in my pocket and I could break and smoke. And then when I got out, I actually, because I had a regular income even while I was in college, I could afford cigars. So I started. And then probably around 80, 82 is when I started really paying attention to what I was smoking and hanging out at shops in New Orleans. So yeah, it's been a long time.
So when do you think, I need you to be a little self-critical, when do you think you trained your palate? Because I can say in my own experience, I mean, I've been smoking cigars for 25 years, but I would say just the last 2 years, I've learned what the hell I was doing.
So we've actually talked about this, and Renee Girard, who owns Piper's Inn, is one of the first places I started hanging out. And Renee and I have very similar approaches. Renee says, people talk about all this stuff, and I am still somewhat envious of guys like yourselves who can talk. I taste good tobacco or not good tobacco. That's the main thing I taste. All the other stuff I really have to work at. And when I started working in cigar shops, which was with Dupe at Cigar Cove, one of the first things he told me is, you're gonna have to slow down, you're gonna have to smoke them slower, and you're gonna have to pay more attention to what it tastes like. So it's just been over a couple years that I've really, and probably longer than that, but consciously looking at it, because like when I would hang out at Renee's and you meet the folks from CAO, or you hang out with Manuel Casado and Manolo, when you hang out with them, or some of the reps, you've got to be able to they say, do you taste this? And you've got to be able to think, okay, so probably, but consciously, yeah, really about 2 years that I've been working on trying to taste different notes and notice where they pop up on my palate and what I like.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you answered it that way, because that's going to segue so nicely into my next question, which is, what is it like comparing what you enjoyed about cigars in the past versus these last 2 years?
Great question.
Yeah, but the
It's almost like I did me homework.
You did.
But the answer is the thing I enjoy most is still pretty much the same thing from when I was in high school. It's the company. That's what I enjoy more than
That's what we hit.
And that's what we're all about.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's and I have to say that's part of what I enjoy about the show. And I've talked to a couple of other guys who watch it. And when I recommend it to people, it's like it's not your typical cigar show. You know, they smoke cigars while they're doing all this other stuff, and that's what's fun about it. Is if you read, not everybody likes Marvin Schenken, the guy that does Cigar Aficionado, but you read some of his stuff, and he will say, you know, a lot of what people like about cigars is camaraderie. Tobacconist University, when you go through to study there, one of the things they say is when you remember flavors, or when you remember this was a great cigar, a lot of times it's not just the cigar, it's the content.
That's exactly right, because that's why I think you favor the God of Fire. Because it's not just the stick, it was the entirety of the circumstances made it so amazing. But I can tell you that what I liked about cigars, I liked the idea of cigars when I was a young man. I thought it was distinguished. It was cool. You know, you looked like you had status. You looked like a traditional gentleman. But as far as like really appreciating everything, I typically, if I'm going to be honest, by the time I would get through like halfway, I'd kind of have enough. You know, I'd just be like, and I would have these hangovers because I didn't know how to smoke them.
Probably
And
smoking too fast.
smoking them too fast. That's like number one rule. That and inhaling. Those are the two bad ones. But like now, it is an entirely different thing because I never would have thought that I'd keep such a diversity of sticks in my humidors because it's all about what are you in the mood for. And that is, besides the camaraderie of the culture, that is the other thing I'm trying to really nail home to our viewers is that there is so much to that world that you don't have any idea until you go through that wardrobe and come out on that other side and you can taste all these things and you realize like, oh man, this is amazing. Like now I wake up in the morning and I just start thinking about like, I'm time to smoke a stick, make a little coffee, you know, and it's just like on the weekends, my thoughts keep going back to like, well, I mean, you could do nothing without smoking a cigar, or you could do nothing while smoking a cigar. And I'm like, well, let's do the one with the cigar. That sounds like a much better option.
Yeah, and it's, to me, if you're sitting smoking a cigar, you're not doing nothing. You're sitting smoking a cigar.
Exactly.
And I tend to keep a tin of cigars in my car. And it can be anything, just decide what I want to get the tin of that week or that month. And the reason I do is I hate traffic. I hate traffic.
Do not blame me there.
And so Lafayette is really, the traffic's not very good. So when I get caught in traffic, I can feel myself getting, I was like, I can ruin my whole day, or I'll grab one and light a cigar.
Serenity now!
I'm still in traffic, but now I'm just smoking a cigar. There happens to be stopped cars all around me, but now I'm just smoking. And that's one of the things I like, because when you light one of these up, you're smoking a cigar, and you can be alone by yourself, or you can sit and talk.
Or you could be listening to a great podcast.
What?
Smoking your
cigar.
What? I've got so many questions going around in my head. I'm trying to keep them all, lined up because I don't want to get all over the place here. But I have to say, I love what we have going on here. It's so enjoyable. But I wanted to ask you, Gary, from an academic side, studying cigar reviews and everything, I know you've seen other shows that review cigars. To put a fine point on it, and I realize high pressure, you're on the spot here, but explain to the audience why they should tune into our show and not just some guys reviewing a Hamlet.
So what you're going to get from these two guys is they are not going to tell you what you should taste, how you should smoke it, how you should cut it, how you should light it. And I can tell you that because that's one of the things we talked about when they came and asked us about sponsoring the show. There's not a right way, there's not a wrong way. Now, they understand a lot about the cigar culture, and they have a lot of experience with it. One more than the other, or one who says he has more than the other. But that, to me, that's the main thing, is nobody's going to tell you exactly what you should smoke or how you should smoke it. It's all about how to heighten your enjoyment, and locally where you can go to find what you might like, and then to expand what kinds of things you might want to try that are outside of your comfort zone. So that's and I enjoy the banter. We play it in the shop at least once. When you go, we'll play it in the shop once or twice. I watch them. I know other guys who come in and talk about watching them. So I enjoy it, and hopefully that's what you were looking for in terms of an answer. But it's honest.
All I wanted was the truth, Gary,
Right.
and you gave it to us. So no, I'm good with that. I'm very good with that. I want to talk about the cigar a little bit right now.
Let's do it.
I'm like in my first third cooking.
Yeah.
And I want everybody just kind of what What are you loving about it right now?
So I'm still tasting the raisin that from the beginning. It's still there from when you pull. Then I get let me get back in my palate.
Hang on.
And then there's like a blend of like a chocolatey, morsel. It's like more like a morsel. If you know what I'm talking about, like those little dark chocolates.
Like a cocoa nib.
Yes, like exactly like that. And then when it comes to the back end, the pepper is like perfect. It's not too much. It's not like too like over the top, like it hits you and it's like, go away. It's like perfect, and then you're like, don't go yet, and then it goes.
All right. So this is gonna sound repetitive because the last Hamlet I described this, but I'm telling you, it's that dark chocolate, not the cocoa. Like cocoa, that's a Habano note.
Yeah.
But this is dark chocolate.
Yes.
Charred bacon. That charred bacon on the back end.
That.
Oh man, and then it finishes like a black pepper encrusted bacon.
Yeah.
So I might not be able to tell when there's white paper. Like, no, this is a twice cured bacon that's overcooked and it's crusted in black pepper. So suck it, cigar aficionado.
Cooked in chicken broth.
Right?
Yeah.
In an air fryer.
And to me, the pepper hits you on your lip when you first.
Yes.
And that's gone now. But there's the spiciness as you smoke it, along with a little bit of fruitiness, and I would say it's an undertone.
I'm getting the raisin.
Very faint.
Yeah.
And it's an undertone of the chocolate. The chocolate doesn't come over
No,
anything,
no,
but there's
yeah.
And it all together, for as dark and as rich as the cigar looks, it's a very smooth smoke.
It is. It definitely is.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Gary, but you sound like one of those guys
Uh-oh.
who could detect those notes. I mean, you're throwing them out there. A little bit of fruit,
I told you,
a little bit of pepper.
Don't forget my degrees in communication.
All right. Well, hey, fake it till you make it, baby. And we've all done it. But I've noticed you smoke a lot of Connecticut's. You smoke a lot of lighter ones. What makes you go to this one?
My tendency, my favorite cigars are really the more medium full body. But during the day, I'm at the shop all day. So usually I don't start with a medium full. I'll start with a milder cigar.
Well, you're not a savage. You got to start off slow.
I'll start with the Connecticut. But I like a lot of it depends on too with what you're drinking. Like I like certain Connecticut's with a cup of coffee. I tell you one. I really like the Brickhouse Double Connecticut with a rye whiskey because it's got a little bit of white pepper that goes very well with those.
This dude said white pepper.
But it goes real, and so that's one of the reasons I like Connecticut's. Is I don't like some guys like Connecticut's just because they like some of them, and it's pretty easy to find Connecticut's that are almost so mild that they don't have flavor to them, and a lot of guys just want to have a cigar, and that's what they tend to, which it's good that those are there. But I always need some flavor. I need some body. So there's not a lot of milder cigars that still have some body to them, and so those will be the ones that I typically gravitate to.
Okay. All right. So now we're gonna go Cosmo with this next question. You're on a desert island, and all you have is a travel humidor that holds 5 sticks.
Oh man.
What 5 sticks do you put in there?
You should have warned me about that.
That's a great question.
It's like I'm good at this.
So one of them would be the Hamlet Tabacero Salomon.
That was what we had on episode dos.
Yep.
Yeah.
So go back and check that out. Watch that episode and then watch this one. Put them back to back. Smoke 2 Hamlets.
And the Salomon is a
Double
special
fist.
shape. It's that's an awesome. One of the first cigars that I really got into regularly when I was living in New Orleans was the Hoyo de Monterey Excalibur #1. So that would be a Churchill size cigar. That would be one of them. Is it an endless supply of 5 or
No, no, it's those 5.
He's done.
You better hope you get rescued or you're going Wilson. You know, you're gonna start taking like leaves and rolling them around, making little.
It's one I discovered recently that I would really like. So they're all going to have to be close to Churchill's.
Well, obviously.
The Fuente Rosada.
I think I've had that.
It's a nice. It doesn't matter if you tend to prefer more full body or more body. It's kind of right in the middle, but it's awesome. The Ashton Aged Maduro #2. That would be another one. That's 4, right?
That's 4.
4, and then
Yeah.
No, I don't think
no,
so.
I don't think that. So, and then the last one, it's not one that it's a replacement. I really liked, Rocky used to make one called the Dark Dominican, and CAO made the Soprano series.
Okay.
And they don't make either. And those two were similar. So I would say my 5th one would probably be CAO now makes one called the Consigliere. And that's
Is that your favorite CAO?
the MX2 is close, but yeah, right now I'd say the Consigliere is that's just an awesome smoke.
Nice. See, I would give my own answer to that question, but it would take me like 3 hours because I'm so neurotic,
Yeah.
and we don't have that much time.
No.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and let our guest have that question, and I'm gonna move on to my next one because like.
And next time you ask me, it'll probably be 5 different ones.
But that's okay. That's okay. There's no wrong answer.
Solomon,
Because really, cigars are mood dependent.
yeah.
So you ask me at any given time, I'm gonna give you different answers.
Well, let me jump in real quick. So, what do you prefer for drinking when you have cigars? Are you're just strictly bourbon, or is there a rum, like a spice rum, or is it?
No, I'm an Irish whiskey guy typically.
Okay.
But man, some of my favorite times drinking and smoking cigars were when I lived in New Orleans. Lived right around the corner from my favorite Irish pub. And if you're ever in New Orleans, Finn McCool's.
I know where that is.
I've been there.
And they opened up just at the time we bought our house around the corner. And we knew the folks who owned it. When they bought it, we knew them before.
Yeah.
So I would go sitting in there and I would bring one of those Hoyo de Monterreys with me, or a La Gloria Cubana Torpedo, and sit and just drink Guinness. And it would typically be at least 2 pints, sometimes maybe a third. You know? And if I was really good, they would let me bring a pint home with me, and I'd have to do the glass back. But that's Guinness with a cigar. I love Guinness.
You like it? You chilled or like it?
You like the Guinness Stout or the Guinness Draft?
The Guinness Stout,
Yeah.
off the tap.
Oh, okay.
It's off the tap. Yeah.
Well, because in Germany and stuff like that, it's room temperature.
Room temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little chilled because of the.
Yeah, because it's outside.
But yeah, that's just
That's where
the Irish way. And that's my favorite to drink. I don't get to do that as much now because you can't smoke in bars.
Oh man.
And my wife doesn't want us to have a Guinness tap at the house. So
Right.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to go to New Orleans because I'll spend like 3 or 4 days there by myself, and then people are like, yeah, but why would they get you in trouble? Well, I never go back to either the hotel or my friend's house. I'm always out watching I call them grinders. Like there's people on the streets that are just as great a players as you would go into a bar and see. So I just walk around and I'm just like, this is on a Monday. Like I'll give you just on a given Monday, you can see amazing artists everywhere, and it's all different. It's like French type music, and then it's like bluesy type stuff, and then you have your jazz people. And I just don't go home. I'm sorry, back to wherever I'm staying. I'm just like, I'll be good. I'll be back in a little while, and then you don't see me.
Right.
So you're a big music guy.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask a question real quick. I've got this theory because I used to DJ.
Uh-huh.
To me, the song that best exemplifies the French Quarter or Mardi Gras at 6 a.m. starting that day.
Is the Popeyes jingle?
Is Jimmy Buffett still whining when I'm
Yeah.
That little,
Yeah.
that's the Gettings. That song exemplifies the feel.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, my band was out of Austin, Texas, and everyone says, "Oh, Austin, Texas, loud music capital of the world." I have to beg to differ, because if you go to New Orleans, and I don't care if it's a Tuesday or a Saturday night, you are going to see amazing musicians, and whether you're in the Quarter, you're on Frenchman Street, or you're down right off Bourbon, you're just going to see amazing artists everywhere.
But now we're in Lafayette, so we got to give some love. I mean, you can tell. I tell folks all the time, you got to come to the festival.
Festival International is
because
ridiculous.
You are guaranteed. I don't care who you are, guaranteed to hear something you have never heard before.
That's the truth.
You're definitely going to be cultured.
Absolutely.
After you leave, like, oh wow.
And you're going to see a bunch of girls hula hooping in crowded places, and you'll be like, "Excuse me, could you keep your little social distant force field away from us?" Oh my God.
But yeah.
So here's.
But yes, to answer your question, yes, I will give you that.
All right.
I'm going to throw another question. Okay. Every time, it doesn't matter how long you've been smoking. Every culture has a hierarchy, and you want to make sure that when you enter a new milieu, that you show them that you're authentic, that you're not a poser, that you know what's up, basically, that you're initiated. So when I've joined new social media groups with cigar smokers, and I need to drop a brand that lets them know that I know good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have like the standards that I go to. What is the stick that you would name drop to let somebody, like, let's say we go to a convention and no one knows you, and you're meeting a bunch of dudes who are dyed-in-the-wool cigar smokers, and you want to drop them a stick that communicates with that succinct of a message that you're a brother with, you know what's up, you know good stuff.
On Facebook, I didn't Facebook until I started working in cigar shops and kind of needed to. So there's a bunch of groups I joined, and I went through the same thing. Okay, what's your favorite stick? I'm like, man, okay, they know I work in a cigar shop, but screw it, I'm gonna be honest. And I say the Hamlet Tabacero, the Solomon shape, and they're like, whoa. So I just use what's really my favorite,
There you go.
And if there's a name for folks who aren't, as like Cohiba comes up all the time, but guys who really smoke cigars, and Padron is a name that everybody even says it with that way, Padron. So I tell you, I like the Padron 4000. I know more than one guy that's their everyday stick, and I know it's not a 1926 or 1964, but that 4000's I call it my steak cigar, because if I'm gonna have the opportunity to smoke a cigar with a steak, that's what I want.
Dude, absolutely. Like, I never had a bad Padron.
Awesome. I mean, other than like at your home, like going to a place and they're like, yeah, there's your steak. By the way, here's your cigar.
All right.
I would go to that place.
Okay. So that segues great to this idea that I want the viewers, please comment. Let me know what you think about this. All right. What would you pay, or would you even be interested in going to like a curated dinner? Okay, so it's not at a restaurant. It's just at some location where the host brings in a chef. They have a curated menu, and part of the ticket price is that you have all your courses, and at the end, you get a curated cigar to smoke at the end of the meal with a brandy or a spice rum or a scotch or whatever. I want to know, what would you guys think about that? Because personally, I did a curated dinner, and there was no cigar in it, but all I could think about was like, I would love to have the chef be like, and by the way, this is our selected stick to pair with all this stuff. Like, blow my mind. I think that'd be amazing. What do you guys think?
I would totally be like, take my money. Take my money. I would go in a heartbeat.
What? I know, and what's great is like,
you can't do that.
No, you can. You can do that.
Well, if you get like an abacus to like host the thing, and then you find a place that has a, it's
I'm already ahead of you, buddy. We got people in the works. We can do this at a drop of a hat. We just have to publish it and promote it. But like,
and I know you guys are talking about doing something a little different, but you know the Boy Scouts do something.
Yes,
similar.
they do.
Two different ones. They do the big event, which is kind of a buffet. And
That's the one we went to.
That's what, and that one is done in Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started this year. We did the cigars. They do that in Opelousas, and that was a steak dinner. And we had 3 cigars, and I would say 3 with the dinner. You get a before meal.
Oh, wow.
one with your meal, and then your desserts.
okay, but that's an event that's catering to cigar people. First of all,
You're talking about catering.
the curated dinner is generally foodies.
Foodies. And
That's who
then
you're,
you get
and
cigar.
I want. Like, listen, if you're a foodie, then that means you appreciate the best of whatever it is you're doing. If you're going to taste something, you want to taste the very best. You're adventurous, and you're not going to be boxed in. I want foodies to get in love with cigars. I don't want to promote an event for cigar smokers. I want foodies to come
So
in
is
there.
this kind of like we're planting the seed right now to
Yes,
what
we are.
we're going to do?
Yes, we are.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Nice.
Right?
I hope I'm involved with that.
Oh, you will definitely be okay.
Oh yeah. Oh
This
yeah.
is definitely going to be involved.
So since you mentioned Padron, I want to talk about Padron for a little bit, okay? Because in all my years, I had never heard of Padron up until a year ago. Never heard of them, and I'll tell you what got me to notice the brand was in your humidor, looking at everything, seeing the most expensive stick in there was that 1926 the Churchill, and
The number one.
and I was just like, I have to have that. Why? Because like, well, I had to see like, is it worth the price tag?
Yeah.
You know, and
We did the same thing with the God of Fire.
I know. And then when I finally got it, I was blown away. And then I've tried a bunch of other Padrones. I've loved them all. And so like Padron, talking with people online, that is the gold standard. You talk about everybody loves Padron. You know, you got a couple of yahoos, but everybody loves Padron. So how do you compare a really? I would say this is medium full, easy. How would you compare this to the Padron experience?
It's a different experience. The drone's meatier, I think. And
I
the
love
things
his
like-
adjective.
And it's going to be medium to full also, but in a different way. I think this might be a little more full-bodied than the Padron, but the Padron to me is a meatier flavor than this. Both good, you know.
The only thing I would add is a lack of pepper.
Yeah, the Padron's not going to.
But I refer to Padrones as like my steak cigar because it's like a steak dinner.
Yeah.
When it's so full of flavor,
rich.
and when you finish one, you're like, I'm full. That was very satisfying, and I love the Hamlets, but you know, going back to the what cigar do I drop to people to quickly let them know? It's the 1926.
Yeah.
Every time I've ever had to pick a brand or suggest one, it's like in Fight Club when two guys are in it and they see each other. It's just like that little nod. That's what it's like when one person mentions a 1926. Everybody who's in the know, they're always like, moment of silence. It's an amazing cigar, and you're all like, I know, it's amazing. So stay tuned, fans. We're gonna do. We're filling up our itinerary. We gotta do a 601, and we're gonna do a 1926.
Definitely.
And I don't know where it's gonna go, but those are. I need people to know like there's a reason why Padron is talked about the way that it is, and I don't think I've ever known a Padron to win a cigar of the year.
You know, I don't know. I started reading Cigar Aficionado a long time ago. I don't remember one, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
I'm pretty geeky about that stuff, and
You don't remember?
I don't ever recall seeing a Padron win it.
It's a shame.
But looking at the previous Cigar of the Year winners that I've had, the Les Bijoux, which is an outstanding smoke. It is, I would call that a silky smoke because the way it's composed, it just like massages your palate as you smoke it. It is sublime. Then you have the Perdomo 20th anniversary. Then you have your Aging Room Quattro. They all won it, and I would take a 1926 over all of those.
And I have to say, with regard to Cigar Aficionado, when I really started paying attention to what I was buying, was still in New Orleans at that time, and I started. It's like, okay, I got money, I can do. So I would buy Cigar Aficionado, and I was teaching. So it's like, okay, the 90s, those are 80s, and I'll try the ones that are rated the best. And I wasn't liking them. So I said, okay, let me drop down anything from 90. I found the ones that they rated what would be a B plus in the 80s, 85. Those were the ones I liked better. And I think for anybody who's just starting, you know, that's one of the things to keep in mind is that just because we like it doesn't mean anybody else is going to.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
Everybody's palate is different, and so a lot of folks just poo-poo Cigar Aficionado right off the bat, but it is kind of a standard. So if you know where those flavors lie, and you can say, well, I typically don't like the ones they rate this level, then experiment a little bit and try.
Yeah.
Let me try the ones that they're rating at this level and see if I like those a little bit better. And usually you can find one for free in a cigar shop. You don't have to go buy one.
Yeah.
You know.
That raises a very interesting point, and I want to address this. We rate cigars on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say we shouldn't do it. We can't seem to help ourselves.
I can't help myself.
So we always
I'm gonna
do
tell
it.
you something cool.
Which
I'm gonna
we're
tell you
probably going to rating this one at some point, you know,
Yep.
and that's fine. But I want people to understand what we mean by it, because Cigar Aficionado, they follow the categories of, I believe, 90 plus is outstanding,
Yeah.
80 to 89 is very good, and then
I
you.
don't think they're that broad. I think it's a little narrower.
It's a little narrow?
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, how do we? I want everybody to say, how do you? Because if we rate a cigar, I need the viewer to know what we mean by it, because we rated a cigar a 78 a couple of shows ago, and that was met with some consternation, because it's like, oh man, I thought I was going to get higher than that. But it's like, well, if you understand how we're using those metrics, I think it would help people understand. So tell us, what does a 90 mean to you? What does an 80, 85 mean to you?
So see, for me, having explained my experience with Cigar Aficionado as a teacher, I think in terms of A, B, C, D, and then from a stats perspective, C's average, and you have to assume that most things are going to be average. So
Right.
average isn't bad,
That's right.
And there's a lot of cigars I smoke on a regular basis that would probably be average. They're not going to pop up and me say, you have to try this. This is fantastic. But so and a B cigar would be above average, and an A is excellent. That's so your 90 up. Those are excellent. Those are ones like, this is one of the top cigars and then your B cigars, those are the good ones. If I can fill my humidor and money's not an option, that's what I'm putting in. And then the C cigars might be your everyday cigar or something that's a little bit better. And remember, that's everything from C minus to C plus, So that's kind of how I look at it. I usually don't recommend to people a particular cigar unless they ask me to. What I try to do is listen to what they already smoke or what they drink if they're just starting, and then kind of go from there. So my ratings serve a little bit different purpose than your guys, because I'm working with folks one-on-one. You've got a mass audience.
Yeah.
So tell us, John, how do you use those scales?
So I'm on the same thing. Like, I go A, B, C. F is, I don't think I've ever hit an F. Even if it's just a one note, I'm still going to give it some kind of rating or whatever. I'll give it in a C or whatever, because you're still, it's...
They made a cigar and I got to smoke.
Yeah,
right.
And somebody put effort into this thing, and so I typically the ones that have they're everywhere, and it's just from the draw to the finish to the aftertaste. If it's hitting all those and it's something that's unbelievable, I'm gonna put it at a 90 and above. I don't think I could ever get to 100 or a 99 even, going like, this is everything, whatever, because it's the way I feel about it,
Right.
So if I put you above a 90, wow, man, you're doing some work. If you're from 90 and below, then yeah, that's a good cigar to me. If I put you in the 70s, you ain't trying. You know what I mean? You're hitting one note. You're not layering. You're your finish isn't good, your tobacco leaves aren't aged properly, the oils aren't there, it's tearing apart, it's falling out. When you're halfway through your cigar, you shouldn't have all those problems.
Right.
You know, and then I take into consideration everything from the way, you know, your label is, how it looks. Did you just throw it together just to get some cigar out there? You know what I mean? Like, I'm taking it into consideration, all those things, and then I'll rate it. But again, I don't like to. Like, I think cigar aficionado. I think that maybe they're like the JD Power. Like, they're taking a little money on the side. Like, hey, we'll give you a good rating.
I've suspected that for a
You're
while.
not the first person to make that.
I've smoked some 90 plus. I was like, who'd you sleep with,
Yeah.
Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
to get this rating? Because it ain't that good.
Yeah, you're not hitting that. This is nowhere near.
So I'm going to tell you how I use the rating scales, and it's going to be a completely different way than what you guys are talking about. But I'm hoping it resonates with the audience, because if you're just getting it, because we have a lot of newcomers,
Right.
I want them to be able to take my approach and apply it instantaneously to the way they enjoy cigars, and I think it does that. So for me, it's all about what do you do with your mouth after you take a pull. So a 90 plus, every time I take a pull, I'm gonna need a minute. I'm probably not listening to what you're saying because I'm having a moment. I'm relishing the notes. I'm savoring every bit of it. From the beginning to the end, I'm just having a moment. You know, whether you think of like the When Harry Met Sally diner scene where she's just like, oh.
Yeah.
That's like, my wife gets annoyed with me because like I acted out like that when I'm smoking a very, very good cigar. And why wouldn't you? If you're smoking the best in the world, you want to show your own face because it's that good, right? So that's if you're a 90 plus, that's what that means. So if you're smoking a cigar and after every pull, your knees get weak and you're just like, this is something special. That's a 90 plus, okay? Yeah. An 80 to 89 in my mind it's damn good. It's very tasty. Every pull, you're gonna enjoy it, but you're gonna be able to take it, enjoy it, file it away, keep going what you're doing. You're not gonna take such amount of time. But it's all positive. 70 to 79 it's lit. I'm smoking it. It's not bad, but like, there's not a whole lot for me to be like, oh, let me tell you what I'm picking up. It's just kind of, it's pretty good. It's not bad, but it's not giving me a whole lot to discuss. And then below that, I wouldn't even recommend smoking.
Yeah, I'm thinking
like
with
that.
the 70 plus, there's some good things, but there's some negative things in there too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, rather than trying to like understand all the numbers, keep it simple. What does it do to you when you smoke it?
Yeah.
And I want everybody to find that stick and that palate where you can sit with your best bud and smoke a cigar and not even say a whole lot because you're too busy just reveling together.
Soaking it up.
And that's so this. Well, tell me this. We had the other Hamlet. Compare the two.
I would say that this is, to use your term, this is meatier. This is more. This is a lot more. You're getting more bang for your buck with this cigar. You know, and you still get the great story behind it too.
I thought
He'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah, well, I when I did my research on the Hamlet guy, like the way that Rocky Patel pulled him into even giving his, you know, all the things he learned. I mean, what a hell of a story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then other people say that's a bullshit story, you know. But you know, and then
well,
it
does sound a little too perfect there. That story of like, you know, the rescue and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but if you after that, I heard that there's a video up of him actually telling the story.
And when he tells the story, he was ready to go, and the first people who got back to him was Rocky. That was the first one who got back to him. And when he tells the story of coming across the border, I mean,
You could tell
it's an awesome story, and you watch him tell it, you listen to him tell it. He's honest, he's sincere, and
it seems
meant
genuine.
a lot to him. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I'll show you the video. It's endearing. You know what I mean?
And by the way, he's a Johnny Walker double black.
Well, we got some Johnny Walker Black right there.
He's going to sit
But
right
you gotta
there.
have the double black, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're a Jameson guy.
I'm actually a Bushmills guy.
Bushmills?
Which, having been raised Catholic, I know is terrible. But I like the Northern Irish one.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a Jameson guy right up until I tried Bushmills, and then I was like, man, this is better. And
I don't think
Have you tried Conor McGregor's?
Proper 12.
Yeah.
I'm still. Bushmills 20 mil.
Yeah.
It's tough to beat, and occasionally I would treat myself to a bottle of it, to the point where a bottle of it got to be a few as opposed to a couple $100. And so my wife, what I get every year for Christmas from her is a bottle of 16, Bushmills 16, which is 3 different casks they gauge it, and so it's got a nice sherry color. And I haven't finished off my bottle from last year, so I'm ahead.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I think that when the Proper 12 first came out, it was kind of like, I think they were, Jameson was who they were competing with.
Yeah.
And then actually, I just had some recently, and I was like, whoa, they're actually getting better. Like, I don't know if they like changed it just a little bit to kind of like make it mature better or something. I don't know, but it was a different, not completely different, but it was better than the first time I had it when it first started hitting the market.
Well, I would, if Conor McGregor wanted to sponsor our show and give us Proper 12,
He would never.
he would never do that. But, you know.
You never know.
Right, don't close the door, John, all right?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I think once we hit our target audience, which is going to probably be 100,000 people, that's what we want to have for subscribers. Maybe then he might, hit it or whatever.
Well, yeah.
Because he's actually a cigar lover, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He is, dude. Oh, God, I would love to see what that dude likes.
What? That would be like just sitting, imagine the stories.
Oh, imagine the cigars he gets.
But you got Crater coming at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim's probably all about it, too.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's an actual like cigar guy.
Yeah.
Like if Connor's a cigar dude and he's an
He is a
Irish
cigar guy.
that's awesome.
That's what's crazy. Him and his whiskey. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Could you imagine having him, his whiskey, and like the creme de la creme of cigars?
I would be so nervous just because I would be so subconsciously tempted to do his accent to him.
No, yeah, I don't know how he would take that.
Yeah,
Wait, you having a piss?
I know, I don't want to do it, but
Taking a piss.
I pissed off another Irish guy because I did his accent to him. I don't even know that I'm doing it.
Well, listen,
Well,
and-
one of the things that you would have to do, like they did in Snatch, right? Because I'm thinking if you have him on and you're drinking and talking, you're gonna have to
Do subtitles?
closed caption, subtitles everything he says.
oh, well, no, okay, so this is kind of weird, but living in Germany, a lot of English, Irish, like I have a lot of English and Irish friends on my Facebook account. They see our videos, and they laugh at it when we do the accents because they're like, you guys are so off. But I mean, they love it. But living in Germany, they do all their college, they do it all in Germany because they have to learn a language or whatever. They have to take their language, so they can just go to the country like, what's the easiest language?
Right?
So they just go to that country and they learn their language and they go to college for basically free.
Damn.
So, yeah.
So I forget what we were talking about, but you still haven't answered.
What was the question to me that I haven't answered?
I don't know. We started.
I thought
Well, it was the whiskeys where we were at,
Yeah.
and Connor got thrown in the mix with his whiskey.
well I'm a bourbon guy. Okay, so I love Woodford Double Oak.
Oh man.
I love Woodford Batch Strength. It's just so good. I love the complexity of those premium like Pappy Van Winkle to be able to smoke
Oh
a
my
super.
God. For his birthday. Oh, you did. You hit it. Boom. I'm shutting the door.
I'm keeping myself honest here.
Yeah. Well, when on your birthday, when we had that Pappy's at Social.
Yeah,
That was a
man,
whole nother
that was another level.
The way that they serve it too is they give it to you. It's neat, and then they bring super chilled water and a dropper.
And
My God, you cover yourself.
We haven't got Gary yet. He's like nope.
He's not saying it though.
Hey, what was that? What was so Christopher Reeve?
The original Christopher Reeve or the other?
No, there's only one Christopher Reeve.
No, There's several Christopher Reeves. Are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about the guy.
I'm not saying.
I got it. He said it twice. Bam.
You got it. You think I'm not feeding you? I was feeding the flame. I'm like,
It's 2 drinks, Gary. It's 2 drinks. You said it twice.
I was feeding your flame. I was trying to get it to come out of him. And he's like, no, you're talking to
Warning to future guests.
Hey, man.
Well, I saw where you were going.
Cigar hangouts, it's a party, man. Exactly. But as far as what I like to drink, yeah, I love bourbon. I recently got into drinking a little Irish whiskey with my cigars because a good friend of mine, that's what he prefers. And yesterday, I got to drink Jameson 18 with a Habano, and it was...
And some spice rum.
It was, and we also had some rum. Basically, we had a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Because that's how we do at my house. I used to be able to make my booze last until the next year when I'd re-up, but not since I started hanging out with you reprobates. Oh my God. Y'all put a hurt on.
I used to, when we had the bar, we would totally bring over every time I was coming, like, bring another bottle. That we don't have it now. We're like, just bring over myself. Hey, guys, how you doing?
So you said you were married. How long you been married, Gary?
9 years.
9 years?
9 years.
What does your wife think about your cigars?
Well, I was smoking cigars when we first met, and it's not our first time around for either one of us. So she's okay. She's okay with it.
Does she like the smell of cigars?
No, she doesn't like the smell. Like most of us, the staleness. And she'll sit out. She used to smoke cigarettes. She doesn't smoke them quite as much now, but so we would sit out and she would smoke a few cigarettes while I smoked a cigar. Well, now if she's going to smoke a cigarette, she wants one. And she's like, Mister, cigar's a whole event. I'm like, well, yeah. She's like, I can't sit out that long. I can't. And she can't sit still that long. So if we go somewhere and we're meeting with people and we're hanging out on a friend's deck, and she's okay with that. Up until the governor changed things, there was one particular bar in Youngsville where we could go. Can I drop a name?
Dude,
Dewey's was the last bar in Youngsville where you could smoke. So I used to go watch the Saints games at Marley's when Andy's still on at Monso, because Andy and I were buddies. And she would come and the cigars didn't bother her, and then started going to Dewey's because we live in Youngsville. Dewey's was the last bar in Youngsville where you could smoke. So we'd smoke a cigar.
Yeah, we used to do O'Darby's, like right there in Karen Crow.
Yeah.
They were, you could smoke up until like they were now.
Yeah, well, they had to, with the shutdown, they had to emphasize the kitchen and change to a restaurant. Now you can't smoke in there.
Yep.
So I have been just watching the games from home, which is I used to do that, but it's more fun to go out. So she would hang as I'd smoke a cigar. She's okay with it. She's not going to smoke one, not even a flavored cigar or anything like that. She's not.
See, because my marriage, it was like my wife used to make me take a shower before I'd come to bed because she could not stand the cigar smell.
Yeah.
And, we had her on the show last time, and she basically said that, well, it was because I smoked crap cigars, which I don't know how much that's exactly true. I will say I smoke way better stuff now than I did back then, but I didn't smoke bad stuff then. I mean, I smoked Rocky Patels back then, just not, I didn't know anything. But like it went from her not being able to stand it at all to now she smokes.
Oh, cool.
Because she really liked what it meant. Like she didn't want to do it until she saw her girlfriend smoking a cigar, drinking a bourbon. She's like, that's sexy. I'm like, yeah, it is.
And
Like,
we have several female regulars who will come in, sit down. Some come in by themselves, some come in groups, and a few come in with the guy. They'll hang out and sit and smoke. And it's just, I think for a lot of women, they are turned off because they think they're not supposed to like it, or it's just a guy thing.
yes.
And I think that's part of what shows like this can do is, no, it's everybody enjoy it. Have a blast.
If you look at the majority of our cigar groups that we're in, there's a crap ton of girls.
Ton of women.
Ton.
And the
And
common
they look sexy smoking.
the common thread that I see about all of them is that they love female sexuality and men love the male sexuality of it. And so it's like they love the whole like, yeah, I look sexy as I smoke this. Let me take a picture of me looking sexy while I smoke this. And the men are like, yes, and they do. So if you are thinking of smoking cigars, join some large groups. Yep. Even if you're not thinking of smoking, join them anyway because the photos are amazing. Yeah. They're
some
like,
are funny, and some I didn't get a chance to post mine from yesterday yet.
Some of the ones that I see people posting, I'm just like, that's almost exploitative. Where it's just like, I'm pretty sure if Bill Clinton had an iPhone in the White House, he'd have taken some choice photos with Lewinsky. You know,
check out my cigar. Monica, come over here. Get me a selfie.
All right. All I can think about is the oral orifice. And so I'm just like, not even going there. Not even going there.
Look, my dress smells like cigar too, see?
Right? Oh my goodness. You guys. I'm in my final third here.
Yeah, I don't want to give it up anymore. I'm savoring it.
So we didn't talk about this. What is the price point on the Gordo? Which is this is the 660?
You know, I didn't look it up. It's one of my faults.
Yeah, just tell me later. I'll put it right here.
Okay.
Do you know anybody who works at Bailey's that maybe they could tell us?
Busting the balls. Busting the little balls in.
I gotta say, like, if I ever had the time to take another job, I'd want to work at Bailey's.
We don't have time for anything.
Well, I know I don't have the time. I mean, that was a big if.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have that kind of time. I have my hand in so many different things. But that would be so much fun. Just.
My wife swears I do not work. You know, it's like, I have to go to Saltmans. You can't work. Okay.
Well, every time I go in there, you always look a little nonplussed that you have to put down your cigar and wait on me.
Well, that's just you.
He's like, this long-winded bastard. He's in his
so extra. I'm actually happy to see you.
Oh, take thy beak from out thy breast.
Hey, who is the guy? And I'm sorry if you're. I hope you're one of our viewers. Who is the guy who comes in there and gets that big?
Oh, the digger.
The digger. Sorry, the digger.
We're out of the diggers. So.
But he's
an older guy, big guy.
Big guy. He comes in.
He's been the one you're thinking of, the Quinones. He smokes the Fuente Quinone. It's Don Tron.
Don Tron. I want to know you, Don Tron. I hope he watches our show.
He's watched the show because we were talking about it. He said, "Oh yeah, see." Don actually has a sports show on Saturday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. called First Cup on the Game. So we sponsor his show, but it's college football and high school, college and high school sports. And Don was a state rep. He also was a high school coach. He played high school ball. He keeps up with college. That's like, if he's got a passion, I would say college football, but he likes college sports. So
I'm gonna have to check that show out.
Yeah, and if you really want to know more about political lore, you know, not Huey long time, but he can tell stories. That's one of my favorite mornings. You guys know one of our regulars died not too long ago. One on Black died. So Ellis Bienvenu, who has horses, comes in some Saturday mornings after he's coming from the track. Larry, Ellis, Don, and Tommy Thibodeau, who works for Republic, we're all in. And they start telling stories. And I was just quiet and wasn't even sitting by the forum and just listened the whole time. They've done it also with Curly Dartes, who stopped in this morning. Oh, it was great to see him. And they just start telling stories. And when some of those guys start telling stories, it's fantastic. And that's, I think, one of the neat things about cigars and cigar shops is you're gonna meet guys that you would not meet necessarily.
Yeah.
You wouldn't normally meet those.
Yeah.
And you grow your circle of friends and you hear these amazing stories. You know, you just hear fantastic.
Well, my buddy Toby Richard, he that's what he does, horses and stuff like that. So when I ever someone's talking about their horses or breaking horses or getting in the derby or wherever it is, I love those guys. They have more stories about crazy horses and wants to break it. Like I was on it was one of the Hargroters estates or whatever. I think it's one of Dwayne's brother. I think it was his. They had a horse. No, it wasn't him. It was another guy who trains them, whatever for derbies and whatever. And he goes, hey, yeah, go out here, and I want you to shoot this picture this way. And I was like, oh, great. He goes, but there's a horse out there, and I was like, yeah, well, I carried it because he gave me one of his mules, and I'm driving out to this part of his property, right? And I'm getting out here, and he goes, yeah, but my horse is a little different on that side. And I was like, well, hey, the horse is a horse. Of course. No, I'm just kidding. So I get out there, and this horse, he wasn't kidding. This horse would run up on you and bump the mule. And then he'd try to nip at you, try to bite you. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, you crazy horse? So he's at full gallop, and I'm like, I'm trying to get away from this horse. But those guys, I love hanging out with them because there's a million stories like that. And then jockeys, when they get involved, their stories will blow your mind. I got to introduce you to some of those guys.
Dude, can you imagine me hanging out with the jockey?
Oh my God, it'd be David.
Like, sit up on me lap here and tell me a story, laddie.
Tell me a little story.
Oh my God. But something you mentioned a second ago, I want to explore this a little bit more. You talked about the stories you hear when you meet people. What I want you to explain to the viewer is that most people think of a place like Bailey's or a cigar merchant is really just a place to buy your sticks, but it's like a community outreach center almost. So explain to people what it's like going. Why do people just go and hang out?
You have some folks who don't have any place else to go, and most cigar shops have a group of regulars, right, who are there for different reasons. I would suggest that if you're looking for a place, I think of a good shop as almost like a pub. All right, it is the neighborhood gathering place. Now you can go drink Coke or water if you want, or you can drink beer, or you can drink liquor. But really, you're there more to be there and to be with people than anything else. And so it needs to be inviting, and that starts with the physical layout and the people who work there. And then you make sure that you have things to offer that cover a wide range of folks. And then you encourage people to be there and do whatever they want. We have some guys who come in, sit and read. I've seen guys, and I'll talk about my shop more than any, but all kinds of guys that'll go sit and do paperwork, and then you've got guys who just want to sit and visit and talk. And then you'll have younger guys, women who come in and want to learn some, and then they get involved in a conversation and stay. More than one shop, more than one time, I've watched the guy come in, get the cigars, say hello, and somebody asks a question, and they're almost to the door, they're at the door, and they stop and they start talking. And next thing you know, they pulled out a cigar, cut it, lit it, and they're sitting down. Yeah. And now they made a new friend, right? And to me, that's what a cigar shop is all about.
Community.
It's
Amen.
Community. It's a place to go and be. Whatever that being means to you, and going back to what you talked about, the slowing down, and it's just a place to be. And there are not enough places like that. Your neighborhood bar could be like that, but you can't smoke in your neighborhood bar anymore, and
how about that guy who just sits there and he has his headphones in, and he pulls it out, he's staring at it, take a puff, staring at it. Mm-hmm. That guy, he's always sitting in that one chair. Every time I walk in, he's in the same chair. It's like right near the door, and he has his headphones on, and he's just sitting there enjoying his cigar.
He hasn't been coming in as much, but it took me a little while to figure out, we're 2 doors down from a workout place, right? So he would go work out, and then that was his treat. He would come and
I just busted my ass. I'm doing this.
And we have lots of guys. They come in, and a couple of them, it's couples who come in, and they've worked out, and they're going to get a cigar for each of them, and then they're going home. And it's one lady, I was like, go and say, no, I just finished working out. I smell terrible. And I didn't say anything, but I'm thinking, you're in a cigar shop. Nobody's gonna.
Ain't nobody gonna tell.
That's the one place you can
do
be
that.
comfortable after the gym, for sure. I want to ask you this, Gary. Have you guys looked into promoting events at Bailey's?
Yeah, every cigar shop would like to do events. But again, we can't right now because of the governor's restrictions. And I know there are some places that have done them. We're waiting to see because we just opened it now.
Well, yeah, you got January 6th coming up real quick.
So we're waiting to see what happens. The other thing is usually those events are done in conjunction with the manufacturer. And we just got our tobacconist license. And in Louisiana, you cannot buy from the manufacturers unless you have a tobacconist license. So sometime next month, we'll have those accounts ready. We'll be dealing directly with the manufacturers, which means the reps can come in and we can do events with the reps. So yes, we've thought about it and we want to do it. I'll give a plug. The 23rd of January, there will be a car show that's been that I forget how long ago it was. They're going to be back in January 23rd, so that'll be a Saturday morning, 9 in the morning, and they come out.
Is that the one at Hooters? Or is that the other one?
They may have done it's. I get it backwards. See, the cigars and coffee are coffee. Cars and coffee are coffee and cars. I forget which one.
You're right the first one. Cars and coffee.
Cars and Coffee Lafayette. So they'll be in the parking lot in front of Bailey's. Last time we had 3 dozen cars, easy. We're figuring we'll have more. And they're just a great group of people, and they were thrilled to be there. So lots of them came in. For me, it was awesome. The owner, Jamie, came in and says, "Go see what it's like," because he has a Jeep he brought out, and I'm walking around, and there's all these cars, great cars, and folks in there. Bag chairs sitting around, some of them smoking cigars. It was just neat to see.
Yeah, one of my neighbors has the Mustang, the old, it's not a Shelby, it's the fastback.
Mm-hmm.
His is in that, so he's proud of that.
So what do you think, this question's to you, what do you think about if we got to the point, assuming the governor's rules, like all that COVID stuff passes away and we get to business as usual, the normal stuff. What would you say about when they do events, whether it's like a poker night or just like a rep is going to bring in and everybody who shows up gets like a couple of sticks or whatever. What if GNS showed up, we set up some cameras, and we either had a table and we just recorded and cast a show simultaneously with the event, or we could do like a handheld and I could just hold a microphone and we could be like reporters covering the event.
Well, as you already know, I do all the Comic-Cons that come through here, so yes, totally do that. I would love to do that, but we'll have our own little booth, and each one of the cars that we can feature the cars that kind of like that. Be more of the community with the cigars.
We could maybe even get to the point where we do a show at the shop and invite people to come in and have like an audience.
We've been talking about getting out there.
And then we'll figure out something, whatever cigar we're doing, maybe do a special on it so folks can get it and smoke that cigar like that.
All right, so I'm winding down with my cigar, but I have a few more questions I want to ask Gary before we sign off here, because I'm really proud of myself at how fast I'm smoking this Gordo down, because it's been like an hour and 10, and I'm clicking. I'm doing pretty well here. What would you say is your number one seller? And if you say Acid Cuba Cubas, I'm gonna slap you.
Don't slap me, but we've looked at the number one seller since we opened is the Isla del Sol.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Sugar cane, because it's sweet, and probably Johnny Johnson with the Airstream trailer, the smoking section.
He's gonna sponsor the show, by the way.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a show. So this is for you, Johnny. We're gonna do a show from the Airstream in the smoking section with our boy Johnny, because Johnny and I go way back.
Johnny is like the definition of an old dude.
Oh my God.
I love it.
He's like the Big Lebowski. He's the dude.
Yeah, he is the dude.
He's just the chillest, most agreeable guy you ever met. And I knew him back in his old Harley days in the 90s when he was just like riding the streets, dragging the country. Oh man, and slinging some pool. That guy, was something else.
He was there for your birthday party.
He was. That was awesome. Yeah, we had him show up at the event and passed out cigars to everybody. It was awesome. So why do you think the flavored cigars are such hot sellers?
I think a lot of folks who want to try cigars and aren't familiar with them mistakenly think that the flavor is an easy entree to get a sense.
It's intuitive.
I tried it. I know, but I tried it and I quickly stepped off.
But you're a cigar smoker first, you know, and what I caution.
Because I made him.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to let you do that sissy crap.
No, remember we were at Bailey's. I was like, "That's same for me. Hold on, let me go back and get another one."
But it's not really sissy crap. It's
understand.
different flavor. But the reason I tell folks, if you're looking to start, don't start with the flavors. What happens mentally is if you like it, now you've got it numbered. Is it the sweetness, the flavor?
Exactly.
Or is it so what I recommend is starting with a mild cigar, and then I usually recommend something shorter so that you don't, like you were saying, get bored from sitting there so long. So, and then if you like it, then move it. And then after you decide you like cigars, try a sweet one or a flavored one. Like I still enjoy some of the jobs, but that's one of the things that you come from learning. And I really think the Isla del Sols, Johnny has sold a ton of, and a lot of people who would not be familiar with cigars have been introduced to him because he was at an event.
That's if I was to have any criticism of what Johnny's doing, it's that his humidor is more suited for the uninitiated. There's a lot of stuff in there that's like, if you don't know anything about cigars, there's less to choose from. But if you know what you like and you know the really, really good stuff, you're gonna have a hard time finding some of that. But
But that's who his customers.
But that's who his customers are. So
that's our number one seller.
Okay.
The number two seller is the J.C. Newman hand roll, which is they come in boxes of 100, $5.95 for the Toro. It is right smack dab in the.
Is that the one that's like rolled in a tobacco leaf?
No, that's the Leaf by Oscar.
Okay.
So it's a medium bodied. It's an excellent smoke in terms of it's for what it is. It's a medium bodied, everyday, easy draw smoke. So that's our number two. And then number three, depending on how you're defining it, is either the Padron 4000 or the J.C. Newman Diamond Crown Toro. So our top four cigars, that's our top four. And to me, it's odd that we've got sweet, cheap, and not so cheap, all in our top four. And so we've got a really broad range of customers, palates coming in the door.
So I'm very excited to have your perspective on the show, not just because you're a fellow lover of the leaf, but your inside perspective as a professional in the industry, whereas we're just, geeks who couldn't afford our cigar habit, so we started a show so that we could get cigar. I mean, wouldn't be the first time I've conjured up some scheme because I like something. But what do you think the state of the community is in Lafayette right now?
Man, it's amazing. If you think about it this way, there are 5 cigar shops and 1 cigar bar in Lafayette, plus Johnny, right? So you've got 5 shops. I can name them all. So you got Chesterton's in Youngsville.
Yep.
You got Cigar Cove in Broussard.
Yep.
Right? You got We're in Karen Grove. You got Bailey's in Karen Grove. And then you have Piper's Haven and Cigar Merchant in Lafayette.
And Murphy's Law. Oh, sorry.
And then
Sorry.
you got a cigar bar,
Okay.
which is Murphy's Law, right? On Pinhook. In Baton Rouge, you have 2 or 3 shops and 1 cigar bar. In Baton Rouge, which is at least 3 times larger than Lafayette. So in terms of the number of people who will support a shop, you got a lot more here.
Yeah.
I would think you've got a lot more people who can spend money and could do it in Baton Rouge, but the folks here are just wonderful when it comes to cigars. Now, if we could get the them to open up, being able to smoke in a bar, things would change. But then Murphy's whole approach would be, different. But
Now, based on what's selling, it seems to me that the state of the community is young, and that it's growing quickly, but you have a lot of people looking for entry-level sticks.
yeah.
Is that what you would say?
And to add to that, we've sold since we opened several dozen pipes, and almost all of them to younger people. And so, yeah, it's.
We've been seeing that. I've been seeing a lot of it, like pipes and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, in fact, the guy that one of my part-timers, works evenings, Glenn, he's a big pipe smoker.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why he's there is that's a weakness for me is knowing pipes. He knows pipes, pipe tobacco. We got one of our first regulars is a big pipe smoker. Thanks, Graham. But I find that the idea of smoking, the younger group has, and when I say younger, 20 something to in their 40s, so 20 something up, they do a much better job of separating cigarettes from other types of tobacco. They are much more aware of what cigarette smoking means versus what pipe smoking or cigar smoking or even vaping. And I don't really talk about that much because I just don't know it that much. But they are much more knowledgeable than folks over 50.
That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about it like that. What I think is amazing is that it looks like if you have not picked up your first stick, this is the time, because there are so many supports, so many groups, so many places, so many ways to meet other people. And here's what's so amazing is that in my humidor, there's a non-trivial percentage of sticks that guys just give me, just because there's a very selfless component to the culture where people just if they think you have a good palate, they want to hear what you have to say about their favorite. And so I have people all the time saying, hey, I got a stick I want you to try, and they just give them to me. And that is something you just can't put a fine enough point on about how amazing that is for a community to be like that. And so I don't want people to feel intimidated because, I'm not going to want to go to a cigar meetup because I don't geek out as hard as we do about it. But here's the thing. There are so many guys who really don't know much, but they're getting started, and you'll fit in with all those people. And so it's come have a part of this and see what the kick is. And I know we're beating the horse because a lot of our viewers, they've started this journey. They're in their fledgling steps, but I think it's such an amazing time that we live in where.
And you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to really get a good cigar. There was a period when I had been smoking cigars long enough that I had these cigars that were my favorite, and then this cigar boom hit ages ago, and all of a sudden the prices of cigars I liked went ridiculous, and I was very happy when the cigar boom passed because they came down, not quite to where, but they came. So what you can find is under $10, you can find really good cigars. Everyday cigars, you don't have to spend the $2. You can find $5, $6. You can get a good cigar that you're going to enjoy, and it's
the JFR.
Yeah.
You gave us one of those to try, $7.50, and
Killed
it was very enjoyable.
And when you think about it, some places you're going to go, and that's going to get you a drink.
Yeah. And here's some perspective that I really want to nail home is that people focus on the price tag and like, well, I'm burning it, but think about it like this. If you like wine, okay, it's not unheard of for a really good bottle of wine to cost you $100, okay? And what does that bottle of wine do for you? Well, it's going to last you a couple hours. You're going to be able to enjoy the time, visit with people, and savor that wine. Well, a cigar is going to last you 2 hours. And a good one costs you $15. And so you're spending $15 to have this blocked off time of bliss.
And then you can go to a a place like Bailey's and just see people you never probably would run into that has the same, not habit, but enjoyment that you have. And they're like, guess what? I just made a new buddy who likes the same stick as me, and I have a badass place to go and hang out with them.
I go to Bailey's all the time. I don't even need cigars. I just go because I'm like, what am I going to see in there?
Yep.
You know, I like going to people like, what are you smoking? And it's always just like, we're making buddies, all right? Tell me what you like. I'm going to tell you what I like, and then you sit down and you smoke with somebody. And I mean, I always end up buying something because I can't help myself. I got a problem, but that's not why I go. You know, I go because I just want to hang out.
How many humidors are you up to right now? Be honest. At your house.
Just
come on.
Just 2 official?
No.
Well, I mean the little
2 main ones.
2 main ones.
2 main ones,
Yeah,
and they're stacked.
I'm sorry, you know, it's like
I'm not sorry. I love going over there. I'm like, look at this. Oh, what's that?
Right? Well, it's like that's like Fear and Loathing, you know, when Hunter S. Thompson and Dr. Gonzo are like getting their drugs ready to go to Vegas, and he's like, I know we've got way more than we could possibly consume, but when you're building a drug collection, the tendency is to push it as far as you can. Well, that's cigars.
Yeah.
And when I got my second humidor for my birthday in October, it was a 100-stick humidor, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm never gonna fill that up until like a week later.
Yeah.
I don't know where they came from, but it's like, and there they all are. But yet I'm still over at Bailey's because I have a wandering eye. It doesn't matter what I got in my box. I'm just like, well, what's out there?
And that's the cool thing we tell our community is like, you might hit a note that you're like, oh, I'm never gonna get anything better than this. I love this. Is where I'm gonna stay. And then someone will tell you something like, hey, go try this. And you're just like, yeah, I'll try it. And then you're like, wait a minute, maybe I like this one. And that's because they're always coming out with something that's better, or it has a different flavor note that you want to see how it plays in with the cigars.
And there's so many to try. I mean, we've got a good variety in our humidor.
Oh, your
we don't have the biggest humidor in town, you know.
No, but your selection, I think, is
and then nobody here has all the brands. You know, that's it's just amazing. And each shop has its own personality. Each shop has an emphasis on different cigars, you know, or different aspects of smoking. And it's you go around and try them. I still go hit different shops.
So this is changing speeds. What's a brand that you find is just overrated?
America.
Hey, and that's my personal grievance. Okay, it doesn't have to be.
You're not the only one who has that grievance. The one that comes to mind most frequently, because it comes up most frequently, is Cohiba. They're good cigars, but most of the cigars I prefer are going to be Rocky Patel's or somebody else's line. Villager makes awesome cigars. The Cohibas, they're okay, but they don't. And again, everybody's palate is different, but they don't knock my socks off.
Have you tried the Cohiba Black?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
And I've smoked Cuban Cohibas. They're okay. Yeah. The harder problem I had with the Cuban Cohibas was I smoked enough of them that I would hit back. It's poorly made. They were poorly made.
Where were you getting them?
I was in Greece. I was working in Greece. So, I had more than one that just was poorly made.
Was there like a La Casa del Habano store?
No, it was a local cigar shop. We were buying that, and then down the street from the tavern.
See, because I don't want to get too far afield with the Habanos thing, but I've heard a lot of guys talk about the quality control in them, and
you have to play the plague out there too. And they're the fakes.
I think if you think about it, the best way I heard it explained is if you think about American car manufacturers in the 80s when they were just cranking out, and they cranked out a lot of crap. They've got one export queue, and so it's not that the cigars are bad, it's that the quality control is poor, and that's the issue. And it's been like that for a while. That doesn't mean Cuban cigars are bad. That means you run the risk of getting one that's not made.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I was in France, I was 21, and I smoked cigars. And when I went overseas, the thing that was in my brain was go get a Cuban, because I'm no longer trapped by the embargo. So I was in Paris, and I went to this cigar shop. I didn't know anything about Cuban cigars, though. So like I was the textbook mark, ready to be preyed on by any of the counterfeiters because I had no idea. So I got a Cohiba. I don't even know which kind it was. I just saw Cohiba, and I was like, that's it. It was terrible. It wasn't all that great, and I'm pretty sure
That's why I say you get plagued with the.
I'm pretty sure it was a fake one.
Fake.
You know, but I can say that the Dominican Cohibas, not a fan. I find them. I haven't smoked a black yet. I got one in my box, and I'm kind of aging it right now because it's a new SKU, and I want to make sure it's mellowed. But I did not think much of the Cohiba line at all until I had an authentic Cohiba Bahique from Cuba, and that was transcendental. That just absolutely blew my mind. So like now I'm like, okay, well, the Cohibas from Cuba, they're on a different level. They have flavor profiles that you can't touch them. But the Dominican ones, I'm like, So I don't know what would you say is a brand that you think is overrated that's got a lot of popularity?
What was it? It was something recent. You put me on the spot. What was that? I just had this. What was it? I was like, what is this? It was a Connecticut, but it was a oh crap, I can't remember the name of it. But it was a Connecticut, and I actually got it at Bailey's. And it just.
You had a Brick House, Connecticut, from Bailey's.
No. The Airbender. It was the Airbender. I think they're overrated.
That was like your go-to.
Sorry, but I'm kind of taking it back.
Why your palate?
My palate's completely changed. And as many people as say, like, Airbenders, oh man, Airbenders, that's good. Not a fan anymore.
I find, okay, so I ordered some Airbenders from a distributor, and they were like Maduro Airbenders. I'd never seen them. They were darker than the ones that you get at Bailey's, and they were the ones that had like that rich peanut butter flavor. I enjoyed them in the morning with coffee. I would say that that's a solid 80s. It's certainly not a 90, but it was one of those.
But you didn't ask him for a bad cigar. You
No,
said
overrated. Okay, so
yeah. Overrated. I would have to say that the Airbenders, because so many people smoke.
Yeah.
A lot of people smoke those.
I don't know what I would say. I would say probably Fuente.
You know why I'm like that? Because of you.
Oh!
It's definitely because
You
of
would
you.
say Fuente, but you're not a mild cigar guy.
No, I'm not.
You know, and that's what Fuente is known for. But again, it goes back to the balance, because everybody likes something different.
I see our drinks are about to empty, our cigars are about to end. Any final words on the Hamlets before we wrap this puppy up?
In my opinion, I would totally.
No, give me my opinion.
Okay, go.
Go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
know what you meant. This is a strong 91.
91.
91.
Could have just gone with a 9. He was like, nope.
No, I was gonna say 90, but then I was just like, no, 90.
It's like 90, but one better.
Yeah. So I would say strong 91. And you guys know how I'm a very stingy. I'm the Simon Cowell
Yes.
of giving out these things. So I would say strong 91. Between the story of the Hamlet, bringing them over here, the flavor notes from the chocolatey to the pepper finish, everything about this, and the raisin, the fruitiness in it. It's every part of it is enjoyable. It's a symphony. I would recommend this 20 times over.
So the 2020 is certainly a lot better than the year.
Yeah, the year sucked, but the cigar's damn good.
And that's one of the things I would like folks to notice is we've not had to drink to get the cigar down. And a lot of times you need the drink because it's too hot. It's just as much body as there is, it smokes a lot smoother than you would expect.
Yes.
And it's just a good
And that's
cigar.
why we only drink neat on the show, because The booze is not there to make the cigar go down easier. It's not there to be a drink. It's there simply as a cleanser.
Yep.
And an accentuator. That's exactly what it is.
I was thinking of 92, so
See, I'm right there with you. And I'm a stingy person.
Yeah, he doesn't give his ratings out freely.
No, I don't.
He makes you work for it. I find this to be such a well put together stick. The only times it went out was because I was talking too much. But
We have Gary here. We have Gary here. I don't know why you're going to be long-winded.
Oh, man.
For once, I wasn't long-winded. It was you.
like,
It's kicking right now where it's got all those great flavor notes, but then at the end, I'm getting that little bit of a, I want to call it like an acerbic, where it's just like that little bit of ammonia. It peps it up at the end. So the spice, the pepper, has kind of gone like it's always a front end pepper. All the Hamlets I've ever had, the pepper tends to dissipate as you get into the stick, but it's at that middle where those front flavors have kind of subsided. They've toned down a bit, but then you got the back end flavors picking it up, and everything is just a perfect. I mean, we keep going back to the symphony metaphor because that's something. Everything plays perfectly, and I would. I don't know if I could parse out. I don't know if it's a 90 or 91, but I would say this is 90 quality. I mean, beyond that, we're just splitting hairs. So catch me on a different day. I could say 91. I could say 92, but I just feel comfortable saying it's a strong 90.
so no matter what, it's an A.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So anyway, major shout out to our sponsor. Major shout out to Gary to honoring us as our first guest.
Thank you. And before you go, I wore this shirt on purpose. Cigar Rights of America is the lobbying group for the cigar industry, and they do a lot to support cigars. All of you who like cigars, you know what it's like. It's almost to the point where you can smoke them at home, and there are even some places where you can't smoke them in the shop. So we're lucky we have that here. So I want to give a shout out to them. Go check their website, join if you can. You guys, I'm thrilled you had me. Thanks a lot. It's been an honor.
It's
I
been a
enjoyed
pleasure
it.
having
Oh, thanks, man.
And I hope it was fun.
Oh, I enjoyed it. This is a blast. Yeah.
We just gotta get Jamie on the show now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You two on the show together? Woo-hoo.
I want to see what
That'd be a really long show.
I want to see what stick Jamie picks out. Like, dude, pick out like your favorite, something we had. Is that's
I could tell you his favorite in humidor, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, okay.
Let's leave him.
Oh, all right. We don't want to steal his thunder. But first guest in the books. Salute, guys. Merry Christmas again. And until next time.
Take care, everybody.
Ciao.